Captain Jinwoo Park stood on the bridge of his ship, looking out at the empty space around them. The stars here were different from the ones near Earth. They were colder, more distant. This was the edge of known space, far from the bright center where the Galaxy Council ruled over hundreds of worlds. Jinwoo had never seen the Council worlds. He was born after the exile, after humanity was thrown out of galactic society. But he knew the stories. Everyone did. 50 years ago, humans had been part of the Galaxy Council. They were new members, eager to help and make friends with alien species. But humans had a problem. They could not stand by and watch suffering. The Council had rules. They called it the Prime Directive. Do not interfere with other species. Let them solve their own problems. Even if they were dying. Even if they were being killed. Humans broke that rule again and again. When the snake-like Vorthak wanted to kill half the population of a primitive world because there were too many people, humans said no. When the logical Zenthari refused to help a species facing a plague because it was not profitable, human ships arrived with medicine. When the hive-minded collective decided a small species was useless and marked them for elimination, human soldiers stood between the killers and the innocent. The final mistake came when Council forces prepared to wipe out an entire world. The species there was young and wild. The Council called them dangerous. But humans saw children playing in alien cities. They saw families trying to survive. Captain Sarah Martinez had been there 50 years ago. She was an old woman now, living on a human colony far from Earth. But she remembered standing before the Council and saying, no. The Council gave humanity a choice. Follow the rules or leave. Humans chose to leave. Captain Park, came a voice from behind him. It was Dr. Sarah Chen, the ship's science officer. She was small and smart, always asking questions about everything. We are picking up something strange. Jinwoo turned around. What kind of strange? A distress signal. It is coming from Council space. Commander Alexei Volkov looked up from his station. He was a big man with serious eyes. He did not trust aliens, especially Council aliens. Could be a trap, he said. They exiled us. Now they want to lure us back to Council space. Dr. Chen shook her head. The signal is automated. It has been repeating for 3 days. And Captain, the source is deep in Council territory, near the Zenthari home system. Jinwoo felt his heart beat faster. Council space was forbidden to humans. Any human ship found there would be destroyed without warning. The Council had made that very clear when they forced humanity to leave. What does the signal say? Jinwoo asked. Dr. Chen pressed some buttons on her console. The bridge filled with the sound of alien voices speaking in panic. The universal translator worked hard to make sense of the words. Emergency. Station under attack. Unknown threat. All ships respond immediately. Losing containment. The voices stopped. Then the message started again from the beginning. How old is this signal? Jinwoo asked. 3 days, like I said. But Captain, there is something else. The signal is getting weaker. Whatever is happening there, it is getting worse. Jinwoo walked to the front of the bridge. Through the big window, he could see the distant glow of the galactic center. Somewhere in that light were billions of aliens who had thrown humanity out of their society. They had called humans dangerous and violent. They had said humans could not be trusted. But someone was in trouble. Someone was calling for help. Captain, Alexei said quietly, we have orders. Stay out of Council space. No contact with Council species. If we go there and get caught, Earth will say we acted alone. They will not help us. Jinwoo knew this was true. The Human Colonial Alliance was careful to avoid conflict with the Council. Humanity was doing well in exile, but they were still outnumbered by thousands to 1. A war with the Council would be the end of the human race. Dr. Chen, Jinwoo said. Are there any human ships closer to that signal? No, Captain. We are the closest human ship by far. But there should be hundreds of council ships in that area. The Zenthari home system is one of the most protected places in the galaxy. Should be, Alexei repeated. But if there were council ships there, why is the distress signal still playing? Jinwoo closed his eyes and thought about his grandfather. The old man had fought in the last war before humanity joined the council. He always said that being human meant helping people, even when it was dangerous. Especially when it was dangerous. Set course for the signal, Jinwoo said. Captain, Alexei stood up. This is not wise. We could start a war. No, Jinwoo said, turning to face his crew. We could prevent one, or save lives, or stop something terrible from spreading. I do not know what is happening in council space, but someone is scared enough to send an automated distress call for 3 days. Dr. Chen nodded. The signal is definitely not fake, Captain. Whatever is happening there is real. We are humans, Jinwoo said. 50 years ago, the council threw us out because we would not let people die when we could save them. That has not changed. We are still the same people. He sat down in his captain's chair. Take us to council space, and prepare for anything. The ship turned toward the galactic center, toward the forbidden worlds of the Galaxy Council. Behind them, human space grew smaller. Ahead of them waited the unknown. Jinwoo thought about the stories his parents had told him. Stories of humans who gave up everything to do what was right. Maybe it was time for a new story. The human ship dropped out of faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Zenthari system. What Jinwoo saw through the main screen made his blood run cold. Where there should have been busy space lanes full of alien ships, there was only darkness. Where there should have been the bright lights of space stations, there were twisted pieces of metal floating in the void. My God, Dr. Chen whispered. What happened here? The Zenthari system had been one of the strongest in the galaxy. Their homeworld was protected by massive defensive stations and hundreds of warships. Now Jinwoo could see the broken remains of those defenses scattered across space like toys thrown by an angry child. Captain, said Lieutenant Kim Min-soo from the communications station, I am picking up that distress signal. It is coming from a research station near the 4th planet. But Captain, there are other signals too. What kind of signals? Ships. Big ones. And they are not like anything in our databases. Jinwoo felt fear creep up his spine. Human databases contained information about every known species in the galaxy. If their computers could not identify these ships, then they were looking at something completely new. Put the unknown ships on the main screen, Jinwoo ordered. The image changed to show the space near the 4th planet. At first, Jinwoo thought he was looking at black holes. The ships were so dark, they seemed to eat the light around them. They had no clear shape, constantly shifting and flowing like liquid metal. How many? Jinwoo asked. 12 large ships, Captain. Each one is bigger than our largest battleship. As they watched, one of the dark ships moved toward a damaged Zenthari cruiser. The alien ship tried to run, its engines glowing bright blue as it attempted to escape. But the dark ship was faster. When it caught the cruiser, something impossible happened. The Zenthari ship simply disappeared. Not destroyed, not blown apart. It faded away like smoke, leaving nothing behind. Did you record that? Jinwoo asked Dr. Chen. Yes, Captain. But I do not understand what I am seeing. The Zenthari ship just stopped existing. Captain Park, came a new voice over the communications system. It spoke in the clicking language of the Zenthari. But the translator quickly converted it to human speech. This is Research Station Omega 7. We detect a human vessel. Please respond. Jinwoo looked at Alexei, who shook his head. Contact with council species was forbidden. But the fear in the alien voice was real. This is Captain Jinwoo Park of the human ship Horizon. We received your distress signal. There was a long pause. Then, human? But, you are exiled. You should not be here. We heard someone calling for help. We came. Another pause. Captain Park, this is Senior Researcher Zex Thera. I must warn you. The entities attacking this system are unlike anything we have encountered. They consume everything they touch. Energy, matter, even space itself. We call them the Devourers. Jinwoo felt the bridge grow quiet. How many council ships were lost? All of them, Captain. 3 battle fleets, 12 defensive stations, and the orbital cities around our second planet. Gone. All gone. We are the last station still transmitting. Dr. Chen was working frantically at her science station. Captain, I am detecting massive energy readings from those black ships. But the energy signatures are wrong. It is like they are pulling energy from everything around them. Zex Thera, Jinwoo said into his communicator. What started this? How did these devourers get here? We found an artifact, Captain. Ancient beyond measure. Our scientists believed it was a communication device, left by a dead civilization. When we activated it, the alien's voice broke with emotion. We woke something that should have stayed sleeping. Can the artifact be shut down? Unknown. The Devourers appeared within hours of activation. Our homeworld sent every ship to contain them. But conventional weapons are useless. Energy weapons only make them stronger. Kinetic weapons pass through them, like they are not there. Jinwoo watched another council ship die, simply fading from existence as a devourer touched it. The aliens had been so proud of their advanced technology. Their energy shields and plasma weapons were famous throughout the galaxy. But none of it mattered against an enemy that fed on energy itself. Captain, Alexei said quietly, we should leave. Now. Before they notice us. But Dr. Chen was studying her readings with excitement. Wait, Captain. Look at this. Our ship's energy signature is different from the Council ships. Different how? We use fusion reactors, not antimatter like the Council species. And our hull plating. Captain, remember the stealth modifications we made to avoid Council detection? The energy dampening fields? Jinwoo began to understand. During the 50 years of exile, humans had developed technology to hide from Council sensors. They had learned to make their ships invisible to energy-based detection systems. You think our technology might work against these things? Maybe, Captain. The Devourers seem to track targets by their energy output. Our ships run much colder than Council vessels. Senior Researcher Zex Thara, Jinwoo said into his communicator. We may be able to help. But I need to know everything about that artifact. Captain Park, the alien scientist said, if you have a way to fight these creatures, I will tell you anything you wish to know. But please hurry. They have detected our station. We estimate 10 minutes before they reach us. Jinwoo looked around his bridge. His crew was scared but determined. They were deep in enemy space, facing an unknown threat that had destroyed the most powerful fleets in the galaxy. By all logic, they should run. But Jinwoo thought about the Zenthari scientist, probably watching death approach his station. He thought about the billions of aliens living in fear throughout Council space. Most of all, he thought about what it meant to be human. Dr. Chen, prepare a full sensor scan of those Devourer ships. I want to know everything about them. Captain, Alexei said urgently. What are you doing? What humans do, Jinwoo replied. We are going to try to save people who hate us. He opened a channel to his entire crew. All hands. This is the captain. We are about to attempt a rescue mission in hostile territory. Anyone who objects can file a complaint when we get home. Through the main screen, he watched the dark ships move closer to the research station. Somewhere behind them, the Galaxy Council was probably meeting an emergency session, trying to decide how to save themselves. They were about to learn that the people they had exiled might be their only hope. The emergency session of the Galaxy Council had been running for 6 hours. The great chamber on the capital world of Nexus Prime had never seen such chaos. Representatives from dozens of species shouted at each other in fear and anger. High Chancellor Vorth Kane sat on his elevated throne, his snake-like body coiled in frustration. The proud Vorthok had led the council for 30 years. He had been the one to cast the final vote that exiled humanity 50 years ago. Now, his own home system was under threat from the creatures humans called Devourers. 12 systems lost, announced Council General Thexmori, his insect-like voice clicking with panic. 43 billion citizens dead or missing. Our finest battle fleets destroyed without inflicting a single casualty on the enemy. What about the Eternal Fleet? Asked someone from the back of the chamber. Gone. Thexmori replied. The Eternals sent their most advanced ships. The Devourers consumed them in minutes. High Chancellor Vorth Kane raised his massive head. What of evacuation efforts? Unquote. Refugee ships are fleeing toward the Galactic Rim, Your Excellency. Ironically, they are heading toward human space. The chamber fell silent at the mention of humans. For 50 years, the Council had tried to forget about the stubborn species they had exiled. Humans had been a problem from the day they joined galactic society. Too emotional. Too quick to interfere. Too willing to break rules. For moral reasons. There is something else, Your Excellency. General Thexmori continued. We have received a report from the Zenthari system. A human ship responded to our distress signals. The Council erupted in angry voices. Humans in Council space. This is an invasion. They violate the exile. Silence. Vorth Kane's voice boomed across the chamber. What did this human ship do? According to the report, they attempted to rescue survivors from a research station. The station was destroyed before the rescue could be completed, but the human ship survived contact with the Devourers. Impossible, said Councillor Zur Rex of the Collective. No ship has survived direct contact with those creatures. The human ship used some kind of stealth technology. The report suggests their energy signature was too low for the Devourers to detect properly. In the back of the council chamber, a young voice spoke up. Perhaps we should hear the full report. All eyes turned to Yurin Sol, the youngest member of the council. The Eternal was only 300 years old, practically a child by his species' standards. His people lived for thousands of years and rarely spoke in council sessions until they were much older. You wish to speak, young Yurin Sol? Vorth Kane asked with barely hidden contempt. I do, Your Excellency. I have been reviewing historical records of human behavior, in particular, their response to the Calith crisis 47 years ago. Ancient history, growled Councillor Vex Karn of the warrior Bruthen. The humans were banished for their interference. Yes, Yurin Sol continued, but they saved 4 billion Calith lives, and they did it using unconventional tactics that our own forces could not implement. Are you suggesting, Vorth Kane said dangerously, that we should ask the exiles for help? I am suggesting, Your Excellency, that the humans have developed technologies and strategies during their isolation that might be effective against this new threat. The chamber exploded in outraged voices. Never. We banished them. Humans are a failed species. But Yurin Sol continued speaking, his voice growing stronger. 50 years ago, we exiled humanity because they would not let people die when they could save them. Now we face extinction, and the same species we called dangerous might be our only hope. The humans are probably working with these Devourers, Councillor Vex Karn suggested. This could be their revenge against the Council. Then why? Yurin Sol asked quietly. Did they risk their ship to answer our distress call? High Chancellor Vorth Kane slithered down from his throne. Even if these humans could help us, why would they? We exiled them. We called them violent and untrustworthy. We banned them from council space on pain of death. Because they are human, Yiren Sol said simply. Read the historical records, Your Excellency. Humans have never been able to ignore suffering, even when helping hurt them. It is their greatest weakness and their greatest strength. The great chamber fell silent as the council members considered this. Outside the building, they could see refugee ships landing on the capital world. Millions of displaced aliens seeking shelter from an enemy that could not be stopped. The Devourer fleet is moving toward the Rigel sector, General Thex Mori announced. If they are not stopped there, they will reach the core worlds within 10 days. How many ships do we have left? Vorthkane asked. Approximately 2,000, scattered across 40 systems. But Your Excellency, after what we have seen, I do not believe conventional forces can stop this enemy. Vorthkane closed his eyes. In his mind, he could see the destruction spreading across the galaxy. Worlds consumed. Civilizations erased. Billions of lives, simply ending. The proud council that had ruled space for 1,000 years was facing its final hour. There is a human colony in the Rigel sector, Yiren Sol said quietly. What of it? The Devourers will reach that system in 6 days. When they do, humans will face the same enemy we cannot defeat. Vorthkane understood. If the Devourers destroyed human colonies, humanity would have to fight whether the Council asked for help or not. And humans had technologies the Council did not understand. Prepare a message drone, Vorthkane said finally. Send it to the Human Colonial Alliance. Your Excellency? General Thex Mori asked in surprise. 50 years ago, we told the humans they were too dangerous to remain in civilized space. Now we face an enemy that civilization cannot defeat. Perhaps it is time to ask the dangerous ones for help. What should the message say? Vorthkane looked around the chamber at the frightened faces of the galaxy's most powerful beings. For the first time in his life, he was about to admit that the Council had made a mistake. Tell them the truth, he said slowly. Tell them we are dying, and we need their help. The message drone launched from Nexus Prime 3 hours later, racing through space toward human territory. Behind it, the Galaxy Council waited to see if the species they had exiled would save them from extinction. President Kim Min-jun of the Human Colonial Alliance stood before the emergency assembly on Earth. The Great Hall was packed with representatives from every human colony, military leaders, and scientists. Everyone had seen the Council's message. Everyone knew what it meant. They want our help, President Kim said simply. The same council that threw us out of galactic society 50 years ago is asking us to save them from extinction. The hall erupted in angry voices. Let them burn, shouted Admiral Torres from the Luna base. They called us violent. They banned our ships from their space. They exiled us when we tried to help people, added Dr. Patel from the Mars colony. Now they come crawling back when they need us. President Kim raised his hand for silence. I understand the anger. All of us lost friends and family because of the exile. Human colonies struggled for years without council trade and technology. They made it clear we were not welcome in their galaxy. So why are we even considering this? Asked General Hassan from the Titan Defense Force. Because, President Kim said quietly, we are human. And humans help people, even people who hurt us. Captain Jinwoo Park stepped forward from his place in the assembly. He had returned from Council space 2 days ago with full sensor data on the Devourer threat. His report had shocked everyone who read it. Mr. President, Jinwoo said, I have seen what these creatures can do. They don't just kill. They erase everything they touch from existence. If they are not stopped, they will consume the entire galaxy, including human space, Dr. Chen added from beside him. She had spent 48 hours analyzing the sensor data. The Devourers follow energy signatures. Once they finish with Council space, they will move on to human colonies. Admiral Torres stood up. Then we fight them when they come to us. We don't need to save the aliens who exiled us. Admiral, Jinwoo said respectfully. Our fleet has maybe 300 ships. The Council had over 10,000. They lost most of them in the first week of fighting. But you said our technology works against these things? Our stealth technology helps, Dr. Chen explained. Energy-dampening fields make us harder to detect. But we developed those systems to hide from Council sensors, not to fight planet-eating monsters. President Kim walked to the center of the hall. The Council has offered to negotiate. They want to discuss terms for human assistance. What kind of terms? Asked someone from the back. Full Council membership for humanity. Access to their trade networks and technology. Reparations for the damages caused by exile. The hall grew quiet. These were things humans had wanted for 50 years. Recognition, equality, compensation for their suffering. There's more. President Kim continued. They want our help writing new council laws about protecting smaller species. They admit their non-interference policy was wrong. Dr. Song from the Seoul colony raised her hand. What about the species we tried to protect before? The ones we were punished for helping? Full protection under council law. No more population control operations. No more abandoning civilizations to plague or disaster. Jinwoo smiled. It was exactly what humanity had fought for decades ago. The Council was offering to become what humans had always wanted it to be. But Admiral Torres was not satisfied. Words are easy to say when you're desperate. How do we know they won't exile us again once this crisis is over? Because, said a new voice from the assembly entrance, we will make sure they keep their promises. Everyone turned to see Commander Sarah Martinez walking down the aisle. She was 93 years old now. But she moved with the confidence of someone who had faced down the entire Galaxy Council and lived to tell about it. Commander Martinez, President Kim said with surprise, we thought you were retired on Kepler 442. I was, the old woman replied, until I heard the Council was begging for help. I've been waiting 50 years for this moment. She climbed to the speaker's platform with some difficulty. I was there when they exiled us. I heard them call us dangerous and uncontrolled. I watched them vote to throw us out of civilized space. The hall was completely silent now. But I also remember why we were exiled. We saved people the Council was willing to let die. We broke rules that should never have existed. We chose morality over politics. She looked around the hall at the faces watching her. Now they need us to do it again. To be the dangerous, uncontrolled humans who care more about saving lives than following orders. Commander, Admiral Torres said. What if this is a trap? What if they plan to destroy us once we enter Council space? Martinez laughed, a sound like dry leaves rustling. Admiral, I've studied the reports from Captain Park's mission. The Council is barely surviving. Half their fleet is gone. Their core worlds are evacuating. If they wanted to destroy humanity, they would have done it 50 years ago when they were strong. Osmond, President Kim nodded. The question before us is simple. Do we help? Or do we let the galaxy burn? And what about our conditions? Asked Dr. Patel. We negotiate from strength, Martinez said firmly. They need us more than we need them. We can demand guarantees, treaties, hostages if necessary. But we do not let pride stop us from doing what's right. Jinwoo stood up again. Mr. President, there's something else to consider. I've analyzed the Devourer attack patterns. They're not random. These creatures are heading toward the galactic core, toward the most populated systems. So, Earth is in the galactic core, Mr. President. If we wait for them to finish with Council space, we'll be fighting them alone and without allies. The hall fell silent as everyone understood. This was not about helping the Council. This was about survival. President Kim looked around the assembly one final time. All in favor of accepting the Council's request? For negotiations? Hands rose throughout the hall. Not all of them, but enough. The motion carries, President Kim announced. We will negotiate with the Galaxy Council, but we negotiate as equals, not as the exiles they remember. As the assembly broke up, Jinwoo found himself standing next to Commander Martinez. Think they'll keep their promises this time? He asked. The old woman smiled. Captain, they're about to learn that keeping promises to humans is much easier than fighting wars without us. The human fleet emerged from faster-than-light travel at the edge of the Rigel system. Captain Jinwoo Park, now promoted to Admiral, stood on the bridge of the flagship New Harmony. Around them, 300 human ships prepared for the most important battle in galactic history. Admiral, reported Captain Lee from the communications station. The Council fleet is requesting permission to join our formation. Jinwoo smiled. 6 months ago, human ships were banned from Council space. Now, Council admirals were asking to follow human battle plans. Permission granted. Tell them to maintain energy discipline. Low power settings only. Through the main screen, Jinwoo could see the remains of New Sol Colony. The Devourers had arrived 3 days ago and consumed half the system before the human evacuation fleet could rescue everyone. 50,000 civilians had escaped, but their homes were gone forever. Sensor report, Jinwoo called out. 18 Devourer ships detected, Admiral. They're surrounding the system's star, drawing energy directly from it. Dr. Chen, now serving as the fleet's chief science officer, looked up from her station. Admiral, if they drain that star, it will go supernova. The explosion will destroy everything within 50 light-years, including the Zen-3 home system and 3 Council core worlds, added Captain Park Sung-min from the tactical station. Jinwoo nodded grimly. This was the Devourer's pattern. They consumed everything in a system, then used the star itself as a final meal before moving on. It was efficient and terrifying. Admiral Park, came a familiar voice over the communication system. This is Senior Researcher Zex Thara, aboard the Council ship Wisdom. Thank you for returning to save us. Jinwoo had worked closely with the Zen-3 scientist over the past months. Together, they had developed the only weapons that could hurt the Devourers, specially modified human energy dampening fields that could disrupt the creature's ability to feed. Any word on the artifact, Zex Thara? We have located it, Admiral. The original artifact is on a small moon in this system. The Devourers are using it as some kind of command center. Can we shut it down? Perhaps. But someone would need to get very close to the artifact while the Devourers are still active. It would be a suicide mission. Jinwoo had expected this. Every simulation had shown the same result. To stop the Devourers permanently, someone would have to destroy the artifact that woke them up, and that someone would not survive the mission. Admiral, Captain Lee called out. We're receiving a transmission from the Galaxy Council chambers on Nexus Prime. Put it through. High Chancellor Vorth Kane's image appeared on the main screen. The proud Vorthak leader looked older than Jinwoo, remembered. Worn down by months of defeat and loss. Admiral Park, Vorth Kane said formally. I speak for the entire Galaxy Council when I say we are grateful for humanity's assistance in our darkest hour. We're not doing this for gratitude, Chancellor, Jinwoo replied. We're doing it because it's right. Vorth Kane nodded slowly. 50 years ago, I voted to exile humanity from the Council. I believed you were too dangerous, too unpredictable, to be trusted with galactic peace. And now I understand that we were the dangerous ones. Our arrogance, our refusal to help those in need, our belief that some lives matter more than others. We created the conditions that led to this crisis. Jinwoo was surprised by the alien's honesty. Chancellor, with respect, we can discuss politics after we save the galaxy. Of course, Admiral, but I wanted you to know that the Council has already voted. When this is over, humanity will have full membership and equal representation. The species you tried to protect 50 years ago will receive full council protection, and humans will lead the new Galactic Defense Force. If we survive the next few hours, you will, Admiral. Humans have a gift for surviving impossible situations. The communication ended, and Jin Woo turned his attention back to the battle ahead. The Devourers had noticed the combined fleet and were moving to intercept them. All ships. This is Admiral Park. Remember the plan. Energy dampening fields at maximum. Target the smaller Devourers first. And stay close to each other. The battle began badly. Even with their improved technology, human ships were vastly outnumbered. The Council ships, despite their advanced weapons, could barely hurt the enemy. For every Devourer they destroyed, 2 more appeared. Admiral, Dr. Chen called out, the star is becoming unstable. We have maybe 2 hours before it goes supernova. Jin Woo made the hardest decision of his life. All ships except the New Harmony withdraw to minimum safe distance. Zex Thara, transmit the coordinates of that artifact. Admiral, Captain Park protested, you can't go alone. I'm not going alone, Jin Woo replied. The New Harmony broke away from the main fleet and dove toward the small moon where the ancient artifact waited. Behind them, the combined human and council forces held the line, buying time for the final mission. The moon's surface was covered with strange symbols that hurt to look at. In the center sat the artifact, a perfect black sphere that seemed to bend space around itself. Landing party to the shuttle bay, Jin Woo announced. Dr. Chen, you're in charge up here. If we don't make it back in 30 minutes, take the ship and run. The landing party consisted of Jin Woo, Commander Martinez, who had insisted on coming, despite her age, and 2 human engineers. They wore special suits designed to protect against the artifact's energy field. The walk across the moon's surface felt like walking through thick mud. The artifact's influence made every step difficult, every breath a struggle. There, Martinez pointed to a panel covered in symbols. That's the control interface. Working together, the engineers began the delicate process of shutting down the artifact. But they were not alone. Smaller Devourers began emerging from the ground around them, drawn by their energy signatures. Keep working, Jin Woo ordered, raising his energy weapon. I'll hold them off. The fight was brief but intense. Human weapons, modified with Zenthari science and powered by sheer determination, proved effective against the smaller creatures. Got it, one of the engineers shouted. The artifact is shutting down. Across the system, the larger Devourers suddenly stopped moving. Their dark forms began to fade as the artifact that controlled them went dormant. But the star was still unstable. Admiral, Dr. Chen's voice came through the communicator. You need to leave now. The star is going critical. On our way, Jin Woo replied. They made it back to the ship with minutes to spare. The New Harmony jumped to faster than light speed, just as the star began its final collapse. Behind them, the Rigel star died in a brilliant explosion that lit up half the galaxy. But the explosion was natural now, not powered by alien hunger. The Devourers were gone. Admiral, Captain Lee reported, we're receiving congratulations from every ship in the fleet, human and council alike. Jin Woo sat down in his captain's chair and smiled. Around the galaxy, worlds were celebrating. Species that had been enemies for centuries were working together. And at the center of it all, humanity had found its place as protectors and leaders. Set course for Nexus Prime, Jin Woo ordered. It's time to go home. For the first time in 50 years, humans were welcome in the heart of galactic civilization. But more than that, they were needed. The galaxy had learned that sometimes the outcasts, the troublemakers, the ones who refuse to follow unjust rules, are exactly what civilization needs to survive. The age of human exile was over. The age of human leadership had begun.